All right, let's look at the examiner's report here. So we're looking at module 5, networks and decision mathematics. It's the last question, question 9. And as you can see, only 18% of people answered D there. And that's what we said. If we come over here, we said D, 21 was our answer. All right. Then VCAA gives us a bit of a spiel on how the best way to approach this was. It says, one strategy for answering question 9 is begin by determining the minimum time required to complete the project without any delays caused by the restrictions on who can do particular activities. Without restrictions, the critical paths A, C, F, H, and B, E, H giving a minimum completion time of 17 days. And that's exactly what we saw. We said, look, don't consider any restrictions at first. Remember, that was our first step. And we found A, C, F, H, B, E, H, and we said it was going to take 17 days. All right. So we then, after doing it without restriction, then considered with restrictions. The length of the time required to complete A, C, F, H is increased by 3 days because Ken must complete activity B before completing activity C, giving a revised completion time of 17 plus 3 equaling 20 hours. Now, VCAA actually made a mistake here, and I probably made a mistake when I was talking as well. I'm sure of it. This should have said days. So who cares? I mean, that doesn't even matter. I'm sure that when I was talking through this, I said hours as well. Don't care about that. But 17 plus 3 is equal to 20 days. Requiring John to complete task A does not change this. So requiring John to complete task A does not change this. But this part here, we're saying A, C, F, H. And remember, we put this, did we make this green? No, we didn't. This was in the yellow. A, C, F, H is increased by 3 days because Ken must complete activity B before starting activity C. We come over here. Remember, that's what we said. He must complete activity B before beginning activity C. And because, this took 3, this took 6, they were waiting here for 3 days before we could complete it, right? That's what we said. So that added on an extra 3 to our yellow pathway here, ACFH. 17 plus 3 was 20. Then we got to the tricky one. This one, hopefully I explained it well, but it was tricky. It says, the length of time required to complete path BEH is increased by 4 days because Lisa must complete activity D before starting activity E, giving a revised completion time of 17 plus 4 is 21 hours. Again, this shouldn't say hours. That should say days. All right, requiring Ken to complete activity B does not change this. All right, thus the minimum completion time required for the project with restrictions is given by the 21 hours. So it's given by the 21 hours because remember, you always have to consider the bigger number when you're talking about the minimum completion time. You have to look at the bigger number. To talk about this green part for a while, notice that it says Lisa must complete activity D before starting activity E, and that was 17 plus 4. And that's exactly what we said over here. Because remember what we said was, all right, activity D must be completed before activity E, but Lisa got a 3-day head start here, which means that this 3 plus 3 was 6, then plus an extra 4 hours to complete activity D, then you add an extra 6 hours to complete activity E. So that means that to get to this point right here took 16. Sorry, I'm going between hours and days. I think I just said hours. You know what I mean. Hours, days, it doesn't matter. 16 days to go there. And then once we've got to 16 days, then we need to add an extra 5. That's this plus 5 here to have 16 plus 5 is 21. And that 21 is the one that we need to consider because it takes into account all the restrictions taking place. And it's because it's the bigger number and we're after the minimum time. That's the one you need to take note of. So that's why we said 21 was our answer. And that's exactly what we see there. Again, last question is meant to be tricky. VCAA and we as teachers don't expect everyone to get this one right. This is for, the tippy top of the state, for the people who, are after those highest possible marks. This is meant to be tricky. So I don't want you to look at this and be like, oh my goodness, I can't do further maths. You can do further maths. The last question is meant to be tricky. All right. VCAA wouldn't be doing their job if they didn't make question 9 tricky. They would actually be doing a poor job if question 9 wasn't kind of like very, very hard. But hopefully These several parts have helped you. I probably shouldn't have done them at 10 o'clock at night because I'm probably could have been fresher if I did in the morning, but you know, you do what you got to do. All right, I'll see you later.